Hi guys, it's Mimi. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm kind of coming with something a little different, a little heavier type of topic, because I couldn't find it in myself to just post another video like everything's just okay right now. I don't know, like for a while now my anxiety has been building up and up and up in regards to mass shootings. And mass shootings are something here in the United States that happen all the time, way too often, in places where you should be safe and not have to worry about violence. We constantly have to worry about these things. For those of you who are not aware, some days back there was an attack in Christchurch, New Zealand, where I believe 50 or more people were murdered by a mass shooter. I believe they said he was a Nazi or a white nationalist who hated Islam or something of that sort, and he just went in during Jumu'ah, or the Friday congregation or prayer, and he shot up a bunch of Muslims, men, women, and children, and killed a lot of people. This is very hard to talk about because already I've had the anxiety with shootings happening in the United States. I live in South Carolina, where I'm not sure how far back, but it wasn't that long ago. Here in South Carolina, there was a mass shooting at a church in Charleston, South Carolina, where a congregation of Black Christians were gathered religiously, and they, you know, in a welcoming gesture, let a white nationalist come into the church to sit with them, because that's what a lot of religious people do. Just like with the New Zealand shooting, the man who did the shooting was welcomed into the masjid, because people usually are kind and welcoming in, you know, in the masjid, in the church, whatever it may be. We want to bring people into the fold. We want to welcome them, and to be repaid for being welcoming and kind, to be repaid with that, with murder and violence, is beyond disgusting and heartbreaking. We allow ourselves to open up to other people, to be kind to other people, and they find it in their hearts that we're not worth it. We're not worth being alive, and to kill women and children, it just shows. It's hard, I feel like, and all I know is living in America, so I can't say like it's harder than other places, because you know we have war-torn countries where people are constantly at war, constantly dying, airstrikes falling on their heads, their homes, their masjids, you know, their churches, whatever it may be. We know that this happens all around the world, but all I can really speak from is being here in America. And it's scary to go out day to day, because I don't know about anybody else, but when I go to normal places like the movie theater, or when I was going to college, or anywhere I go, I'm constantly looking for exits. I'm constantly looking for, if someone comes through that door and starts shooting, I'm leaving out of this side, I'm jumping over this. Like, to go places just to do basic things, to go to a grocery store or whatever, and be thinking on that level, like, how do I get out of here if someone comes in shooting? That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, it's crazy. And I've had a family member who was in the middle of a mass shooting in California, And it breaks my heart because a lot of the time, you know, in these mass shootings or in these terrorist attacks, the only time that people are called terrorists is when they're associated with being so-called Muslims, and then it paints this broad stroke that we're violent, that we're evil, that we're looking for ways to get vengeance on people we don't even know. Like, I can tell you right now, most Muslims are out here just trying to live our lives and survive each day just like everybody else. We're trying to pay our bills, we're trying to take care of and raise our children. We're just trying to do everyday things just like everybody else. Just because a white nationalist went into a church some days ago and shot up a bunch of Muslims, men, women, and children, doesn't mean I'm going to look at all white people as racist, or look at all white people as Islamophobic, or look at all Christians as evil. This is getting to a point where it is too much. It's too much. Like I said, here in this state, we have had the shooting in Charleston where so many people were killed in a church in worship, to be killed, murdered, and attacked during a time of peace and worship, to be murdered in a place of worship. That's just evil, where people are going to submit themselves to God and build their relationship with God. Like, it's evil regardless, but we're supposed to be safe in these settings. We're supposed to be able to know that everything will be fine for the most part if you're just going to your Friday prayer, if you're just going to your Sunday mass, or whatever it is. You can't even trust sending your children to school anymore because of threats of mass shootings. Now today, they have to train people to be ready for mass shootings. When I was younger and I would go to school, they didn't get children ready for what happens if someone comes into a school and starts shooting. What we got ready, we did tornado drills, we did fire drills. We were worried about natural disasters. This is not natural. And for children, young children, to have these fears, for adults even, but just thinking of the children, what are we coming to in this world where we think it's okay to just get angry and start shooting people, start hurting people, start being violent to people? And one of the worst things about this is that there's always some people who are trying to justify the violence. There's always someone who will say about this instance, and specifically, I don't know, he was an Australian, I don't know, part of the Australian government, some man, I will not mention his name, decided right after the attacks to be like, yeah, that's all very well and bad that people died, but Muslims have been doing A, B, and C, and retaliation happened, vengeance happened. And this is just me summarizing, but how dare you even come out of your mouth with that? Because let me tell you something, if for a second a bunch of white people, white Christians, were murdered at the hands of a so-called Muslim, and if a Muslim decided to come all sideways out of their mouth and say something along the lines of they deserved it because they're out here killing Muslims in other countries for years and years, that is evil. And you would understand it's evil coming from us, if it came from us. But some people can't understand how evil it is coming from someone else about Muslims or black people or minorities, however we want to spin it. It's evil. It's awful, and I'm sick of it, and I'm sick of being scared, and I'm sick of being afraid. And all I can do, because I'm not going to give people that power over me to have me living in fear like this. All I can do is ask my God that I trust in with all of my heart to protect me. And if I am ever in that situation, to reward me, because I'm not about to give a white nationalist power. I'm not about to give a mass shooter power over me, to have me walking around in fear and not able to live my life out of anxiety of what might happen to me. You don't have that power over me. You're not God, and I'm not giving you that power. And I pray that all of you guys are protected from the evils in people's hearts and from mass shootings and violence and all of these evil things that plague our world. It's just hard. I know it's hard sometimes dealing with this constant mayhem, and for me, even when it doesn't hit close to home, even when it isn't Muslims, it matters. Whether it's a shooting at a concert, a gay club, a church, a masjid, a federal, whatever it is, it matters. This shouldn't be happening the way it's happening. And what I can appreciate about New Zealand is that as soon as this happened, they took action to fix this and keep this from happening again to anyone. They took action. And what pisses me off is here in America, what the hell are we doing? We're too worried about our gun rights. I should be able to buy a freaking rifle. I should be able to buy an automatic weapon because that's my right as an American. Bull crap. Okay? If you really need a weapon that bad, if you really need a gun that bad, you can have a handgun like everybody else. Nobody should be able to walk out here and shoot up hundreds of people with weapons they purchased legally. Do you realize how jacked up that is? And I'm not here to talk about freaking gun laws and gun rights, but something has to give. Nobody's asking for everybody to give up their arms, because there are dangerous situations out here where you may need to defend your family. And I tell you damn what, if I know everybody out here has a weapon and can use it against me, I'm going to have something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to have something to defend myself. I'm not going to leave myself with nothing to defend myself. But at the same time, I don't need an automatic weapon. I don't need a gun that holds a whole bunch of bullets. I don't need any of that. It is sufficient, if anything, if you have to just have a handgun with only a couple rounds in it, because there's only so much you can do with it. My heart is broken for our world in general. It's broken, but it's definitely broken thinking about the Muslims that were just murdered in New Zealand, because they didn't deserve that. None of us deserve to live in fear of someone randomly with no true motive except the evil in their hearts coming and attacking innocent people. It's just, it's wrong. It's wrong that we have to feel this way and live this way. And it's wrong that here in America, we constantly justify it, or we constantly only choose to call certain types of people terrorists. We only choose to call certain type of people terrorists, and it's awful. It's awful because it makes some of our lives way harder than it has to be. A terrorist is a terrorist, no matter the color, no matter the background, no matter where they come from. A terrorist is a terrorist, no matter the religion. I just want to say to everybody who's having a hard time with this, who can't sleep because of it, who has anxiety because of it, I know how you feel. But don't let this overcome you. Don't let fear of human beings take over your life, because we can't give them that power over us. We're still going to be great. We're still going to be excellent. We're still going to try to change things and make things better and make it harder for people like this to do the things that they do. We're gonna still keep fighting, you know what I mean? And I don't even necessarily mean that in a violent way. I mean that we're going to make the change, and we have to start within ourselves. We have to start being understanding of each other's differences instead of hating each other for our differences. We have to learn how to stick up for one another, be there for one another, whether you're from a different part of the world, a different race, or a different religion. Being good to people is part of who I am. Being good to people is part of being a Muslim. And I take that very seriously. I take that very seriously. I follow the example of my religion, which is to be good and kind and be at peace as much as you possibly can until there is no possible other option. That's what I take into my heart, and that's what I implement into my life. I just know it can be hard when you're dealing with things from so many different fronts, whether you're Black and Muslim and female, and dealing with being a female in the world, dealing with being a Muslim person who looks outwardly Muslim, or dealing with racism. It's just so many angles, so many troubles, so many things we have to work through. But I beg you to keep your head up. Keep your head up, and don't let anybody take the good away from you, because you deserve beauty and joy and happiness and light in your life, and you can still have it. Even though this world has grown so dark and evil is rampant, you can still have it, and that's what I'm still fighting for. And I'm still going to do what I do and live how I live, and continue to live, because what other choice do we have? You know, we can't stop living our lives because people are evil, unfortunately. And I'm not going to not live my life because I don't know when my life will end. But at least if I keep living it to the best of my ability with goodness and kindness, I know that when I do reach my end, as all of us have to do, there will be good in it because of how I decided to live my life. I'm sorry to get so, I'm sorry. I don't know like how this ranty video happened, but I just felt the need to say something because this hurts. Every time it happens, it hurts, because innocent people should not have to worry about these things. May Allah protect us and guide us and make us strong, and, you know, ease our hearts. I mean, thank you guys for watching. I know it's kind of just a sad, dark video, but to go on and keep uploading without saying something about it, I couldn't do it. I couldn't find a way to make that okay in my heart. I'm tired of these mass shootings. I'm tired of people dying, and you should be too. And no one should be trying to excuse these actions by any means ever. And if I ever see it or hear someone I know doing it, you can exit stage left out of my life. And I know I pointed right. That was an accident. Exit stage left. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I hope that the rest of your day, week, month, year is spectacular, and that you are protected from any kind of harm and violence in the future. I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum and peace out.